Hey skiers, it's Bob from skiessentials.com.
And I'm Matt.
Happy Friday. This is Top 5 Friday Ski Industry News. Matt, thank you for filling in for Jeff as he fulfills his civic duty at the jury up in the Lamoille County Courthouse.
It had to come at some point.
Yeah, got to get you in here. So thank you to Jeff for answering the call and serving on the jury. I'm sure it's a very interesting experience, but we're here and we're going to do it, come rain or shine. A couple of housekeeping things. We have these lovely 2025 Nordica Enforcer 89s behind us here. Jeff and I did the review and article earlier this week, kind of talked about it compared to that Blizzard Anomaly 88, which we did the previous week. That was a nice little segue.
Yep.
So make sure you check out that video and article if you're interested in these 2025 Nordica Enforcer 89s. Pretty sweet skis, huh?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good. Both of them, really. That Anomaly 88
Yeah.
and these for sure.
Yeah.
Just so much fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
And then we are also running a 4th of July sale on our website that is starting. Jeff might get this video up tomorrow, which is Saturday, which is fine. But the 4th of July sale should be up and running through then. It is running through July 8th. And basically, we're putting more stuff in the outlet, and then the outlet is getting 10% off. So certain brands that we haven't been able to discount for map reasons are now going into the outlet. Notable brands, Stokely, K2, Line, and Vocal. A lot of those products are going to show up in the outlet, so an additional 10% off on that stuff there. So also off of already good prices. So,
yeah, there's some really good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure you check that out coming up for the following week and probably get some good deals. Mostly kind of that 2024 stuff that's moving into the outlet. That's kind of where we're going to highlight. And then in store, we got our 2 retail locations, Pinnacle Ski and Sports here in Stowe, and then Basin Ski Bike and Ride down in Killington. I asked the managers there if they wanted me to include anything, and this is what I got. Save thousands. Thousands was in bold, Matt.
Thousands.
I am reading it as it was written. On in-stock bikes, we have a huge selection of new and used skis at deep discounts, and all winter apparel and footwear up to 50% off. So we got tent sales going. So anything that's out there is really kind of, it's already out the door. Just got to get it going one step further.
And there are some bikes that you cannot find anywhere else that only we have still in stock too. So if you're looking for something specific, you can reach out to them directly, see if they have it, because we do probably have something that you can't find anywhere else.
Great
For thousands off.
Thousands. That's what I read. Good tip, Matt.
Yep.
All right, that's it for housekeeping stuff. On with the news. We got a first topic here from Summit Daily and the US Ski and Snowboard Team.org. Put out a press release that basically they're combining FIS World Cup level events with X Games, which is pretty cool.
Really cool.
We talked about the XGL, which is the X Games League coming up in 2026. And so basically they are combining their efforts and opening up the pipeline for those competitions. U.S. Ski and Snowboard Team event winners will now qualify as athletes for X Games. So it used to be more of an invitation thing.
Right.
If you have already received that invitation, the qualification will go to the next finisher.
Gotcha.
So really it's opening up avenues for more athletes to get into these X Games level events.
Do you think they're scared of Shaun White's league? So they got to band together?
Probably. You know, and maybe Shaun White's league will be the next one incorporated into this.
I would imagine if they're all trying to accomplish the same thing, you might
Yeah.
as well just do it all together,
Yeah,
which is pretty much what they're doing,
yeah.
but just not Shaun White yet.
I was unclear, and I still am, I guess, as to which, would you rather win an X Games gold or a World Cup event as a competitive skier?
Probably X Games, just
Yeah.
because like it would mean so much more to myself.
Yeah.
Just growing up watching X Games, like all my friends gathered together around the TV and just watching it together. But I mean, FIS Gold is pretty pretty
Right.
sweet too.
Yeah.
I'll take either, but for personal reasons, I would probably say X Games.
All right.
Yeah. How about you?
Same. Only because it's such a tangible thing.
Right.
You know, we've all seen it. And also, this will be the 30th year of X Games coming up. So 1995 was the first.
That's
the first
crazy.
year. Isn't that crazy? Also, the Revolution Tour, which is, from what I understand, the JV League and the USST, those athletes will now have an increased opportunity to get into these bigger events. So I think that would be cool as being kind of an up-and-comer in the Revolution Tour, and then you can move up faster in those ranks.
Right. Right.
So points-based rather than invitation.
Yeah.
What else do I got here? USST and XGL. Yeah, so Toyota US Grand Prix, Visa Big Air, those are kind of the big ones that are combining into X Games competition.
And then Knuckle Huck and Street Style are going to
Yep.
be on the World Cup stops, which is really cool. And I wonder if that's going to be part of like their, like obviously it'll count for points, but it'll also be really good for the viewership that are there to like have something in an enclosed space that everyone can stand there and watch.
Yeah.
And that'll bring more exposure to that too. And then the whole thing with the prerequisite versus self-eligibility.
For
Yeah.
XGL?
Yeah, that's an interesting concept, and I think that they're going to workshop that until
Yeah.
it actually becomes a thing.
Well, they have 2 years.
Yep, they have time.
They'll figure it out.
Inevitable to change.
My main takeaway from this is that we have seen a lot of movement in competitive freestyle skiing and snowboarding over the past month and a half.
Yeah,
So
a lot's been happening.
there does seem to be some changes coming down the line. And that's it for topic number 1. Number 2, Matt, I don't know if you know this, but it's always been a dream of mine to own a ski area. I don't know if this is the one for me, but Beartooth Basin is for sale out in Montana. This little interesting ski area. It's a summer-only ski resort. They're open from 8 weeks, from May to June when the road opens,
Yep.
to when they run out of snow. And they basically, the 6 co-owners are having a hard time keeping up with these demands. So with such a short season, they really have to kind of focus all of their efforts on maintaining the ski area, and it just seemed to be too much for them and wanting to live their rest of their lives.
Right.
Because if you're focusing your whole life on an 8-week thing, that leaves 44 other weeks where you have to do something else. So I think that the limited season is the big reason, the big driving force behind this sale, and just it's an interesting ski area. So there was no price set. I assume that means you can submit your offer.
Right.
I might just throw a low ball in there and see what I get.
Why not? What are they going to say?
I know.
No?
They could say no.
It's a very interesting concept. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty much like if we had 2 lifts in Tuckerman's.
Right. But you couldn't get there until, because you wouldn't want to get there until May anyway.
Right.
You know, April's still really sketchy there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good parallel for sure. And it does look like an interesting area. It's just a bowl, kind of like Tuckerman's is, and
Exactly.
choose your own adventure type of ski area. So if anyone out there wants to work really, really hard for potentially 8 weeks of skiing, I mean, they're not even going to open this year
No.
because there's not enough snow.
They've been a 50% opening
Yeah.
rating the past 4 years.
I want to hold out for a better ski area.
Yeah, my thought on that is like if you're gonna buy it, you're gonna have to figure out some other source of revenue if you want to expand the time that you're using it for.
Yeah.
So like whether it be hiking, climbing, because it's pretty much alpine, you
Yeah.
know, terrain.
Yeah.
So you got to do like hiking, climbing, like maybe overland driving, like having like people come out with their big trucks and like
Yeah.
do some of that. I don't know. I just was thinking of anything, but
Yeah, you'd have to be committed. I think that was kind of the issue, is that they just couldn't commit to being creative and like that.
right.
Well, sounds like you should submit a bid too.
Do you want to be co-owners?
Sure. Topic 3 here, Powder Mountain expansion out in Utah. This is a Salt Lake Tribune article. We've talked about Powder Mountain quite a bit recently with the kind of new ownership and new direction that this place is taking. The main thing was that the owner is moving it towards a semi-private model. And I think that when we said that initially, the idea was that the whole mountain was going to be semi-private, but really it was only a smaller subsection of not the cool stuff that was going to be private, so more accessible to the homes and homeowners. And then they kind of have a bigger plan too, consisting of 4 new lifts. One of them would be private, and they really seem to have pushed this additional 2 chairlift construction, which is coming up this summer, kind of really fast track that without getting the master plan approved. And that's where we were talking about just before, that things seem to move pretty fast out in Utah in terms of permitting.
Yep. And
So-
the rest of the country, you have to have a master plan and then you might get approved.
Right. Yeah, this seems like they pushed it through pretty quickly,
Right.
which I'm a fan of that. Like, if you're going to build something, just build it. Don't
Yeah.
sit around wasting time putting it through boards forever. But yeah, so 2 new chairlifts. One of them is going to be a new private lift, and the other one, I didn't really see where it was going to go. I don't know the mountain well
No, me
enough to
neither.
make that claim, but moves are happening at Powder Mountain, Utah this summer. Be on the lookout for more as years go by. But definitely seems like they're building pretty quickly out there.
Yeah. I have one final thought on that.
Yes.
Since the majority owner of Powder Mountain now is the CEO of Netflix, I wonder if he used do you get free subscriptions to Netflix and free membership if you pass the zoning law pretty quick?
Yeah. I mean,
We're getting a little controversial here, but
I know. Well, the prices of that Netflix membership are just going up and up. I mean, it's tough to not make a connection there, Matt.
right. Maybe you can share your subscription
Ooh.
now.
Yeah. If I was on the board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
going pretty deep now.
But yeah, new chairlifts. 4th topic here, Teton Pass is opening, they said at the end of this week, which is today, but if you're watching this and it comes out tomorrow, then maybe yesterday it opened. That Highway 22, I believe, I forgot to write down the number, connecting Jackson and Idaho on the, Idaho,
Yep.
I'm sorry, on the other side. Most of that road washed away 3 weeks ago, and they are now getting it temporarily open, just kind of shifting it away from the washed out area as they construct a more permanent kind of solution to the problem. This was just a big mess for people that lived in Idaho and worked in the Jackson area, or vice versa, I suppose. I think most commuters were going from Idaho to Jackson. Given what I know about the housing costs out there, seems to be a more reasonable way to go.
Very reasonable assumption.
But yeah, just a big mess in terms of those poor commuters or people that just drive back and forth on that road. Some new measures that they're going to put in are steel supports and moisture sensors to try to keep this from happening in the future. You know, I always feel like, and we saw this very recently here in Stowe.
Yep.
Too much water too fast is not a good thing. We had some pretty awful flash flooding on Sunday. We haven't talked about it since then, but my neighborhood in Stowe Hollow up the hill was really hard hit. And
Yeah.
we drove around Sunday evening and just seeing the people's ponds just overflowing over the road, combining with the rivers, just buckling roads up.
Crazy.
We had a whole bunch of brand new pavement finished last week. It's gone, just down the river into Lake Champlain. So, we can empathize with the plights of roads being washed away.
Yeah.
So
Can't
did
play
you
with
guys-
water.
Did you guys fare well up in your area?
Yeah, totally fine. But same thing, like, you know, where I am, there's a bunch of houses that have ponds
Yeah.
because there's no fire hydrants up
Yep.
there. And they were all max capacity all the way
Yeah.
up and then spilling over, and, you know, feel bad for all the people that got their homes flooded and, you know.
Yeah, like Upper Hall or North Hollow Road. I don't know if you ever been to the blueberry farm up North Hollow,
No.
but the whole road was just a river.
Oh,
You know, it was pretty awful. Moss Glen Falls area, like just absolutely annihilated. And it was 4 inches of water in an hour. You know, it's just too much too fast.
Way too much.
And it doesn't matter how big your culverts are at that point. Like it's just, they're gone. So we have kind of, in my house, there's been just a constant chain of dump trucks going up and down the road with big rocks.
Yeah.
Big rocks, lots of fill, driveways, roads, culverts, all that stuff, riverbanks getting totally redone. So we hear you out there in the Wyoming to Idaho corridor. Good luck getting your road back. Edits of the week, just 2 this week, Matt. We have the Hoji closing segment from 2018. This is a 9-minute segment from Matchstick Productions. They called it a tribute. He's still alive.
Still ripping.
He's 41 years old. I looked that up too. I was impressed. And set to the long rendition of Freebird. So fantastic skiing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, really, really amazing. But yeah, I was kind of caught off guard by the tribute vibes. Like, I was like, is this guy, is he dead? But nope, still alive, still ripping, as you said, and a really cool video. 9 minutes, mostly set to Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Love it.
Edit 2, Hedvig Vesel, Unfiltered. This is a video of her becoming a world champion. So it's kind of a behind-the-scenes look at the Freeride World Tour, and I think this was her 5th season and first championship.
Yep.
And just pretty cool behind-the-scenes look and kind of a rare glimpse into what these athletes go through kind of throughout the competition, and then obviously the celebration is the culmination of those efforts.
Yeah, the really cool thing that I took away from that, first of all, those girls rip. Like, insane. But it was cool to see, because they were looking at the Beck, which is just the craziest face in Verbier, and everyone was like, I'm scared. So it was kind of reassuring a little bit of being like, these are the best people in the world, and they're like, I'm terrified of this. This is going to be horrendous. And then to see them just fling themselves down is really, really cool. Like the mental fortitude and everything, and just the pure skill is just wild. Those athletes are a different breed by far.
Yeah, and their methods of overcoming that fear, I think, are also very impressive.
Yeah.
Like it's not just being a physically gifted athlete, it's having the mental fortitude to overcome those obstacles.
Totally.
She was also skiing a Headcore 111. I didn't know if you noticed that.
I did.
Definitely one of my favorite skis in that width range, and
It's a good one.
cool to see her on that as well. So yeah, two edits, but really interesting ones. So awesome to see that. That's it. You got anything else? No?
Nope.
Cool.
Hopefully the rain this weekend doesn't turn into what it was last weekend.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I'd never seen it rain that hard, that fast, for that long.
Even the one last year?
Well, that was like 36 hours of rain.
Fair enough.
This was 1 hour of rain. So the ground didn't have time to absorb it.
Right.
And that's why it just found any weakness and exposed it.
Right.
Whereas at least last July for our flooding, there was time to absorb.
Yeah.
Yeah, those big rains real fast were bad news. Jeff, hope you're having fun over at jury duty, and I believe you'll be back next week. But until then, happy 4th of July on Thursday, and we will see you then.